It is so exciting and so wonderful to see all of you here. I mean, there are just so many different connections from 21 years ago right up until, a wonderful new candidate we met last week. So it's just fantastic to have you all here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm sure many of you have heard the story, but the story goes like this. Mandela stood on the steps of the South African Embassy in London in the late 1990s and looked over this freezing cold sea of South Africans all standing looking up at him. And he said, "I love you all so much. I want to put you in my pocket and take you home." And I just burst into tears. I've been living in London for 7 years. I knew I always wanted to come home, and I came back actually and wrote on a post-it note and stuck it on my computer. I was working for the Saatchi brothers in London, and I stuck it on and it said, "Homecoming Revolution." And this whole beautiful brand has completely come, and that's why you see the heart. It's all around the love we have as Africans together and the love we have for our beautiful, beautiful homeland. I actually thought I could do this without my glasses, but I didn't. Give me a light, I've got such big time.
But you have done it before.
So I returned home to Johannesburg in the early 2000s, and we established the Section 21 company Homecoming Revolution, which is aimed at encouraging South Africans abroad to return home. In 2003, Homecoming Revolution officially launched in Johannesburg with the very great, kind sponsorship of First National Bank as the founding sponsor, in coordination and collaboration with Morris Jones Advertising, Marina Smithers PR, Vega School Fine Arts Centre, and the South Africans Worldwide Database. And we had the most amazing launch in 2003 in Sandton. We had our amazing Yvonne Shaka Shaka singing for us. We had Francois Pinard being a great ambassador. And so began this campaign of storytelling, telling the stories of people who had returned home as a way of encouraging other South Africans abroad to come home. And what we made sure with those stories, we didn't edit them. It wasn't a propaganda job where it was only just the good bits, We actually told the stories, warts and all. We made sure that the storytelling showed people going, it was a trade-off to return, but the trade-off was worth it. Showing the good bits and the bad bits and showing other homecomers who'd made it work really, really did stem this amazing tide of people wanting to come back. And our messaging in those days was, don't wait until it gets better, come home and make it better. Yeah. And I mean, our messaging was, you're not a failure if you return home, you're a visionary, you're a pioneer, you're a trailblazer. I remember some lovely stories. Somebody said they'd been living in Toronto and they said, abroad you can make new friends, but you can't make old friends. Other people talking about wanting to be part of building their own economy, not someone else's. I used to speak a lot about, the roller coaster of being in South Africa. So when I lived in London for 7 years, I was a little bit happy and a little bit sad. But in South Africa, I was very happy and I was very sad. And it was this big, big life. And in fact, we turned that into a whole thing, didn't we? Graham Codrington, the whole roller coaster of South Africa. This idea of a bigger, bigger life being back home. And still to this day, and we've been working, not just with South Africans, but global Africans all over the world. The reasons for returning, number one, friends and family. That sense of purpose and belonging, having grannies and grandpas close by, kids running barefoot on the lawn. That was what it was all about. And this was in the early days with Facebook, and this is how long ago it was. The platform went absolutely crazy. But the minute that FNB sponsorship came in, I was so excited. I had Martine Schaffer, there she is, on speed dial. Martine, we can afford you. Super, super excited. Martine came on board as managing director, and thanks to her, Homecoming soon started hosting successful events around the world, from London to Dubai, from New York to Sydney, from Washington to Dublin. And at these big, huge events, we showcased jobs. We had like 50 different blue chip companies come with us to showcase the jobs, property, schools, relocation services. It was a mad, crazy, incredible time. And a highlight in 2005 was that we were mentioned by President Thabo Mbeki in his State of the Nation address. And I always think, one of the great claim to fame of the team was that in 2006, Homecoming were the first people to put Trevor Noah on an international stage. This comedian making everybody laugh, that's where he was launched, which was amazing. And over the years, other speakers and ambassadors in those days included Thuli Madonsela, Rake Neetling, Cheryl Carolus, Mampela Rampela, Gwedi Montashe, Nick Benadel, Musi Mamani, and Aaron McQuena. And during 2009 and 2013, a whopping 400,000 professional South Africans returned home. I'd love to say we did it all. It's hard to count. Many, many factors. The point is that the economy in those days was doing so well. There were so many jobs to come home to. Then in 2010, we turned 10 years old, which was perfectly timed with my midlife crisis, like exactly right. Where I thought, why am I in advertising? What is my passion? It was all about, building Africa, bringing the skills back, really creating great momentum on the continent. So I sold my ad business, stepped full-time into Homecoming, and turned it into an executive search firm with very grateful investment from the Paul Harris family office, Kwame Private Equity. And so we became an executive search firm, not just for South African talent, but assisting companies across Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Uganda, helping them find globally experienced West Africans, East Africans, South Africans to recruit for their respective countries. And that's how we kind of got known. But importantly, we now place globally experienced African talent. That global experience, a lot of the candidates we place have already returned home. Some might not even have left. They would have been working from here for a Unilever, for example, so they've got that whole global outlook. So it's important to note that it's not just international people that we bring back. So we continued for a while hosting these big expos in London and New York with the likes of Mazinga Melu, Ali Khan Sachu, Achaleki, Eddie Dopu, Mabuba Digagna, and Alex Okosi being our brand ambassadors. And I tell you, it was completely terrifying having expos. So you don't know who's going to come. It's like 2,000 people through the door, and there's sort of grannies and prams, and you've told, employers that they're going to be some great talent, and are they going to get them or not? We know this, right? Sleepless nights. So then we thought made a very, very clever decision that instead of doing these huge big spray and pray expos, instead we have started and still doing tailored dinners. So for example, inviting for PepsiCo, top VIP candidates to a tailored dinner in London, showcasing all of the opportunities at PepsiCo and us telling all the the soft bits about schools and relocation. So we've hosted tailored dinners for Pepsi, MasterCard, Standard Bank, Foschini Group, Deloitte, and many, many other brands, which has been fantastic that employers have trusted us to go out there and really tell that story. What was another highlight in 2018 was President Cyril Ramaphosa acknowledged Homecoming in his parliamentary speech, which was just super exciting. And then during the pandemic, as we all realized, how can we pivot? What is out there? The beauty of the pandemic was we all realized that virtual work works. And we launched an on-demand talent platform called Insights by Experts, In by X, where you could hire talent by the hour. All our top people, you could search and book them. And a massive thank you to Junaid Duplessis. Put up your hand. Junaid, our VC investors from Launch Africa Ventures and 535 believed in the platform and are still with us to this day, believing in our offering. And I must just do a plug for Launch Africa Ventures. How many did you say in your portfolio? 150-ish. B2B tech companies across the continent that they have invested in. Incredible. So in 2022, Homecoming Revolution went through an evolution, merging with In by X to become HomecomingEx. And that EX is for experts, expertise, executives, excellence, excitement, you name it. Offering permanent, fractional, and hourly talent for Africa. Very, very importantly, and I actually want to invite her right here. Where is she, Gia? It was 9 years ago that the amazing Gia Kalk joined us and now is our managing executive. Just come up here. There's something about Gia. She can find talent like nobody can find talent. She leaves no stone unturned. You think there's a unicorn that doesn't exist? Gia will find this person. One of the most hardworking, incredible, loyal, beautiful business partners I've ever had. Oh. Massive, massive thank you, my darling. I love you so much. So to date, we have a unique professional database of 23,000 executive African candidates across all industries, very well screened, and top cream of the crop talent. We've hosted over 75 events across Africa and globally. We've had face-to-face contact with 7,000 professional Africans, and to date, we've made about 650 executive placements across Africa, working in 20 plus African countries. And we're working with 75% of Africa's top non-profits, banks and retailers, and half of Africa's FMCG, logistics and advisory firms. So wow, and thank you, and just so great to look back. And I want to leave you with two thoughts as we look forward. The one is that we are in this A3 age of work, and the A3 age is work happening anywhere, any place, anytime, which is super exciting for the virtual brain gain, but it means that our talent can be employed from here by global employers as well. So it's so vitally important to make sure that the skills we have, the skills we retain, the importance of being able to adjust to this A3 age of work. In fact, startups in a survey we did with Launch Africa Ventures say that finding talent is their third biggest pain point for startups. And globally, 86% of enterprises globally consider talent shortage as a key barrier to growth. And so what we've decided and pushing, and please spread the word, is this idea of the only way to source scarce talent is to share scarce talent. And we are really pushing hard our offering of fractional executives. It's big in the States, it's catching on in Europe, and we really want to drive it home in Africa. That you can have a top fractional chief marketing officer in your business consistently twice a week for a fraction of the cost, giving you all of that top expertise. These are candidates who've been in the trenches, they've got the t-shirt, they are game changers in terms of sharing that knowledge and all the rest. For employers, fractional execs are great for business, they're fresh eyes, they tell it like it is, they know politics, they don't worry about whose toes they're stepping on, they're quick and flexible, they've been through it before, most importantly, they know what not to do. They've made the mistakes and they can really help with that. Cost effective, really also good, interestingly, at retention. So we've worked with a couple of big corporates who were worried about losing some of their top people because they were getting itchy feet. And so they actually took some of those execs down to a 2 or 3 day week, leaving those execs to go and do other things, often in startup or often on their own, which was a way of retaining that IP in the business. So us positioning ourselves as permanent, fractional and hourly talent for Africa. And as we look at this A3 age, we obviously the AI age, you know, here we all are. Obviously with artificial intelligence, you know, obviously tech, engineering skills, you know, clever technical people who can work those algorithms are hugely in demand. But research has shown that across all industries, there is a massive soft skills leadership gap. And these are creativity, collaboration, adaptability. It's so exciting because the machines must go and do the machine stuff, and the humans actually must be more human. And that's why tonight is just so exciting. I mean, our whole plaque is relationships are gold. You know, it's all about relationships. And this community, you know, today you might meet my client, tomorrow my candidate, the next day a connection, contacts, colleagues. The relationships are invaluable. So a conversation you may have tonight may materialize tomorrow or in 10 years' time. But it's super wonderful to have this incredible community with us. And a massive thank you to the HomecomingEx colleagues over the years. I want to make a special mention of our incredible Head of Client Engagement, Avril van der Merwe, who lost her battle with cervical cancer towards the end, or early this year actually. It feels like forever ago that we lost her. And a very, very big thank you to Sally. Where are you? Sally. Well done, my darling. Still standing. Still standing. A huge thank you to Paul of Workshop 17 and the Workshop 17 team, to Six, to Lilama, to Sipho, to Nakwazi, to Nomsa. Guys, we always feel like you've got our back, no matter what. It feels incredible to be part of your family. A big thank you to my darling husband, Carly, my darling. Where are you? Somewhere. And Gia, is your husband here? Where's Lars? He must get a special star on his forehead for what they put up with all our work. So in this environment of relationships are gold, please guys, please, number one, make sure you have a photograph with the big heart. Number two, please twirl and swirl a little bit, because my other big thank yous are to my darling son, Samuel, who's going to be doing a little bit of DJing. And my beautiful daughter, Lulu, who has worked tirelessly on getting all of the RSVPs and organization together. But please make sure you meet 3 new people minimum. You don't know where the conversation's going to lead. Well, just be up and okay, coffee, keep it ready. So as Homecoming continues to build Africa's prosperity by being a major catalyst for the physical and virtual brain gain for the continent, I always love remembering that the grass is greener at home, mostly because we have more manure.